Well, welcome everybody to my presentation about the flying grass carpet. And I have to tell you that the flying grass carpet is not a project of me, myself alone, but we do it with the three of us. We do it together with Eddie Keizer. You see him on the left. You see me sitting in the middle. And together as two companies. We do it as a collaboration between Studio ID Eddie and HUNC. And today I'm going to tell you three things about the flying grass carpet. First, then I'm going to take you on a tour about them. And finally, I will show you the giant flying grass carpet and how we made and designed it and what we looked for during this design process. So we start with what is a flying grass carpet. So for everybody of you who doesn't know what a flying grass carpet is, you can already see it a little bit on this picture. It's made of artificial grass, and it's different types of artificial grass and colors. And we make it a little in different patterns, and we make huge carpets out of them. The flying grass carpet is not just one carpet. We have a whole family of carpets. Here are a couple of them. They come as tiny as 50 square meters, and they can be as large as 35,000 square meters. So anything in between is possible. The little one we call our baby carpet. The slightly bigger one we call our junior carpet. Then we have the medium carpet. We have the original carpet. And the big one you see here is the giant carpet. And at the end of the presentation, I will tell you everything about the giant carpet. We also have like two types of carpets. We have temporary carpets that travel around the world. So it's just one carpet, but it travels from one place to another place. So we only are at a square temporarily. Or we make and as you can especially imagine that the big one of 3,500 square meters took a long time to make. It took us 4 months to make with a big team. And they all cut with a little knife, all by hand, and then assembled piece by piece. So artificial grass, you can't paint it. So you pre-order it in a certain kind of color and a length and structure, and then we assemble it piece by piece. So it is a huge jigsaw. And once a carpet is ready, we roll it up in huge rolls, and they're quite heavy, each roll. And then we put them in a truck, and the truck brings our carpet to its location. So it doesn't fly by itself, unfortunately. We need some physical labor to get it at its place. So here you see us assembling the carpet at a location. So there's huge strips, and we attach the strips to each other again. So this is last summer in Trier. And once it is installed, then people can use it and enjoy it. Now I'm going to start with the second part of my presentation, a story about Rotterdam, the city where I'm from, where I live and where our studio is, and how we came to design the flying grass carpet. So I'm going to take you back to the Second World War and also to 2007. So this is Rotterdam just after it was bombed during the Second World War. You can see a huge devastation. So the city was swiped away. Here is a map of the city. And everything within the red line disappeared during that bombing. And you can also see the word centrum, which means city center in Dutch. And so you can see that, mostly the city center disappeared during that bombing. Rotterdam was not the only city that got bombed during the Second World War. For example, Gdansk in Poland or Dresden in Germany, both cities were bombed as well. And here the cities did something differently when they rebuilt the cities. In these cities, they rebuilt the old houses back. So it also feels a bit strange when you visit these cities, because you see old buildings, but they still feel a little new, like something is off. But in Rotterdam, they did quite the opposite. They rebuilt a modernistic city. Somehow, plans to change Rotterdam into a modernistic city were already there before the World War. So they could start quite quickly. But you have to imagine that Rotterdam kind of looked like Amsterdam. So if you know Amsterdam, you know the cute little brick houses, they were here in this spot as well. It took about 60 years to rebuild the city. So after 6 years, most empty plots were filled. There are still some of them, but most were filled after 60 years. And completely done with this modernistic view. And while they were rebuilding the city, they had this philosophy that the city should be clean, whole, and safe. To me, that's not attractive. That this is your base, is what you need in a city, but it's not what gives a city, its spontaneity, its attractiveness, its friendliness. So as you already can see in these pictures, the city looks very hard and stony. So this was around the 90s. And the city was not, Rotterdam was not a friendly city. It was a hard working kind of atmosphere city. This is also the same time that the major square in the city was built. So this is the Schouwburgplein, and the giant carpet I'm going to talk about later on is at this square, the Schouwburgplein. As you can see, the square is empty while this picture was taken. And if you look at the sky, it's very sunny. For the Dutch climate, it is not like a usual day. This is an exceptionally good weather day, and there's nobody at the square. But keep in mind, the square was designed in the 90s, and Rotterdam was not like a friendly city. It was a working class city. And the designer of the square, the office is called West 8, made references to the harbor and to the character of the city, the hard working character. So the red lamps are references to the cranes in the harbor. The materials of the square are references to the containers in the harbor. And the square was kept deliberately empty. And that was a reference to the bombing, because when they were rebuilding the city, some of the philosophers in the city, they said, when we rebuild the city, we lose the emptiness that was created during the bombing. And they said that they had somehow had to capture or keep that emptiness. And the West 8 decided to incorporate the emptiness in the design of the square. When you look at the picture of the city right after the bombing, you see one church standing, left standing. You're going to see that church later on in my presentation, so keep in mind this big church. But I put a drawing next to it that Rotterdam in the 90s was not a fun city. There was some fun in the city, but that was what Rotterdam was famous for at the time. And in Dutch it was called gabber, and in English it's called hardcore. And this was how the youth in Rotterdam looked like. They had these Australians on shaved head, and they had a special kind of dance, and I listened like very hardcore house music. The square, the Schouwburgplein, designed by West 8, got in the Netherlands got a lot of good reviews by other designers, by primarily architects, and it won some prizes, but it was never loved by the people of the city, so nobody would really use it. It was not a place to come together. And it was also picked up by PPS. They put it on their website, on their Hall of Shame, on their list of 15 squares most in need of improvement. And yeah, it's gotten 8 points. It was very sad. So we decided, the three of us, that Rotterdam needed a better square. We said a square should feel like a Persian rug, like a carpet, like warm, soft, cuddly, or also like a park, a combination between like a Persian rug and a park. And so that people can enjoy themselves, relax in the middle of the city, and just have fun. So we couldn't make a new design for the square. That would be a little bit too ambitious, and also that is West 8, the designers of the square, were not too, not too keen on that. But we made a temporary design for the square. This was just before the financial crisis. This was in 2008. So at the time, still everything was possible. And so we made a temporary design for the square. And this picture was taken 15 minutes before the opening. And I have to show you this picture before the opening, because the pictures afterwards were too crowded that you can hardly see the carpet anymore. So this picture shows that it's not the location that makes a square successful. It's the atmosphere, the tactileness of the square that makes it attractive. After this, we decided that there are more squares like this around the world, and we thought, let's travel with the carpet to different cities worldwide. So this is an image from our website, and these are the cities we visited until now. So in more than 10 years, we've been to around 20 cities, and a lot of these cities we visited twice. Once we go to a city, we often are asked to come back. So I'm going to show you a couple of locations. So not all of them are, just a couple. So here we are in Page, and once we started rolling out, school kids came running towards us and asked if they could help, which was like very fun. Here we are in Berlin, in a courtyard. This is Madrid, and this is Tenerife. So you can see the carpet transforms all kinds of places, like very contemporary places and old places, or rundown places. And now I'm going to take you back to Rotterdam. So now, the last time we were, or the first time we rolled out a carpet in Rotterdam was 2008. In the meantime, we traveled the world with the carpet, and in 2015, they asked us back to Rotterdam. I told you to remember that church standing alone in the Bond city. That's the church you see here on the picture. And I made a little square in front of the church, and they redecorated. So what you see at this picture is a newly designed square. So all the pavement is just freshly put there. And you also see no people. So it's an empty square. And at the time, the municipality was thinking, maybe we should create pocket parks in the city. And they were thinking, yeah, what kind of places could be perfect for a pocket park? And one of the options was this square. But as this square was just renovated, they thought, yeah, we can't sell this to the city, that we just now get out of all these bricks while we just put them there. So one of the people from the municipality remembered our flying grass carpet and proposed, let's put a carpet at the square and see if it works. Then we can test our idea if it would work as a pocket park. And as you can see here in the picture, this is just an ordinary day. And people are sitting here. It was often used for lunch breaks. But also school kids from the neighborhood started playing here in the breaks, or even lessons were held at the square. There's a fitness club in the white building in the back, and they started having boot camps on the square all spontaneously. In the meantime, the city did a research. So they calculated how many people visited the square, and then how well they appreciated the square, and also if people would stay longer at the square. And well, the appreciations went up like 1.5 points, which is quite a lot for appreciations for public space. Yeah, the numbers of people that visited the square more was in the hundreds and thousands, and the people that came to the square stayed more than 4 times longer than they did before. This gave the city the confidence to change the square into a pocket park. So now it's a pocket park. It's the same church as you saw before. It's a little piece of grass and flowers, and this square is now even more popular than when the carpet was there, because they used the knowledge that they found with the carpet to make a special design. So they incorporated what they saw happening on the square while the carpet was there. And now I take you back to the Schouwburgplein, the big square in the city center, because the alderman whose idea it was to create pocket parks said, well, we also have like a huge square in the middle of the city, which after 10 years still looked like this, still empty. And there had been lots and lots of renovations done at the square. The rims had been changed and adapted, and trying to make the square more accessible, but nothing helped. Actually, at this moment, this square also got a big renovation. So it was just ready. So the municipality was also like, oh no, we have an alderman with a new idea, but we just finished the square. And the alderman said, I want the largest possible flying grass carpet at the Schouwburgplein. So before we started designing, we also looked at the square, like, why is this square not working properly? And I have to say, he wanted a temporary carpet, not like a permanent carpet, because otherwise that would get problems with the company that created the square in the first place. So we researched the square first. So we all know the ideas of Jan Geel, and he says that the perfect size for a square is 30 by 40 meters. This has to do that within this distance you can still recognize people. And as you can see at this picture, the square is much, much larger than the 30 by 40 square meters. Also, if you look at what PPS says on how to create good squares, a square should have an attractive plinth and should be connected with its surroundings. And this square has a road along. There are lots of obstacles. There's nowhere that this square is connected to its surroundings. There's lots of obstacles. Also, a square should be accessible. And this square in its design was elevated. The idea was to create a stage for the city. It never worked as a stage. It only worked as an obstacle. But to access the stage, you have to step up like 30 centimeters. A good square should have an attraction and a destination. Well, there's no attraction at the square. They have like really cool looking lamps, but they're not an attraction in itself. And it's definitely not a destination. The square is empty. There were a lot of festivals always held on the square. And people would really show up for these festivals, but once or events, and once an activity was over, then people immediately disappeared. They wouldn't linger, they wouldn't stay at the square. And unfortunately, the Netherlands doesn't have the best weather in the world. It's rainy quite a lot, and when it's rainy, this place was slippery. A lot of people have broken bones at this square. They've fallen, tripled, lots of problems with it. And there were already changes to the square. The hill is an addition. The little stage was an addition to the square, and these seats were an addition to the square, all to make the square more attractive. And we decided to keep these elements and to incorporate them into our design. And the picture on the left, those are fountains. So we thought that would be fun to do something with the existing fountains. So we started designing just with paper and lots of options. And now I'm going to take you to the last part of the presentation, the giant flying grass carpet. So this is what we made in the end, a huge carpet. So this one is 3,500 square meters. And this picture shows a little bit what we did, how we made the design. Remember that I said that 30 by 40 meters is the perfect size for a square. This was obviously much bigger. So what we did is we made smaller carpets within a large carpet to create the feeling of a smaller space. So we created intimacy in this way. Also, we were asked to create a carpet that would stay there temporarily, so only just for 1 year. And we thought if we make the smaller carpets, we could reuse the smaller carpets later on, so that we didn't have to throw them away. So also a little bit awareness of the environment. So we made the giant carpet, we put in a large carpet, medium carpets, smaller carpets. We decorated all the hill, and we added plants to create coziness and an extra softness on the square. So this is the design from above, and I like this picture because it shows you that we work quite accurately. So this is an aerial shot. You can see that we followed the design spot on. Remember that the West 8 made references to Rotterdam in the 90s with the identity of Rotterdam at the time. And we wanted to honor that. So we also made references to the city, and we made references to the architecture of the city. So the tall tower is called the Euromast. So we put it in a smaller carpet. The picture below is the central station, the famous cubic houses, and a very old bridge, which is not working anymore, but is very loved by the locals. So we put them all into designs for the separate carpets. So just to remind you what the square looked like before and how it looked after. And here are some pictures of the square being in use. So you see now there's a lot of people on this previously completely empty square. So this is now a place for people to meet. Sometimes they just claim one little square, and that is their personal square where they meet with friends. And the hill is very loved. So children also roll down the hill now. And here you see also that, when it's a sunny day, the place is full. Like I said, the carpet was meant to stay there for just 1 year. as a test if it could work also as a park. And the local press got wind of it, and they thought, we don't want a carpet to go. So they started a campaign by themselves, like the carpet should stay. So we were invited by the municipality, and they asked, can the carpet stay? Of course. And like within 2 weeks, there had been elections in between, so there was a new alderman, and the new alderman said, of course, the carpet will stay. It will stay as long until we make a new design for the square. So we started with a completely empty square. Then we rolled out our temporary design, and the city now has launched. They made it one of the major projects to renovate within the city. So they have 7 huge projects they were going to do in a couple of years, and this square is one of them. And they just launched a campaign for the citizens to come up with ideas or wishes what should be incorporated in the new square. So the image that you see is not final design; it's just a sketch. And this is where my presentation ends. This is the whole story of the flying grass carpet and the giant grass carpet. So Anna, it's back to you.
Hello. Yes, I'm just stopping the recording now.